Good morning. In the past days, we all have gone through some kind of learning and contemplating towards the topic of bodhicitta, Buddha nature. So, so also one thing that is, we had a very good opportunity as having a time to reflect on self, so that by listening and contemplating so far, we somehow those who haven't engaged with the Buddha nature before, I think the conversation we had might be a little bit helpful to catch some points and a little bit see there is something that we haven't discovered before. There is a saying in the Madhyamika that a person who never heard about emptiness, the middle way path, any kind of selfless teachings, when they hear feeling doubt and because of something, the idea is not very normal to hear in daily basis, something that can a little bit make you frightened, scared, that there is something, especially by hearing the emptiness topic. And it is said that that is a blessing, so that you have awakened and you were disturbed by being distracted to the samsara. So it is a blessing. Sooner or later, this might lead to you to the true path of seeing selflessness. And I hope the conversation we had concerning about the Buddha nature coming from the quote of the victor as the Buddha Shakyamuni, and I hope those are some words that might make us uncomfortable to think about the samsara. So that is a blessing. So if those things happen, that is good. A good sign, because there is a saying that when you receive a teaching from a master, from a teacher, if you don't see any faults one to another, saying the same thing, like in the very beginning, how you are, how you were, and after listening to teaching afterwards, seeing oneself as the same person in the beginning. Like, so whether the actual teaching did help or not, I would say very difficult. The teacher used to say, when you hear and feel unpleasant, when you hear the teaching afterwards, seeing falls on samsara, so this is the real blessing of receiving teaching. Because somehow the teaching did affect you and touch your heart where you changed. So, yes, so anyway, so as the way how it goes, so I hope the Buddha nature, the topic, we have also commentary in English translation. It would be nice when you have enough time, capacity to learn very profound teaching, it would be very helpful. So, so we will continue with the Q&A.
Do you want me to ask the questions?
There were many questions. There are many questions, and some are like so, and some are like maybe meaningful for them, but it's like some are like, God damn, what kind of questions these are? Let's do. I thought of choosing the sense one, but if the order is like that, what to do? So the first question. I think you should read.
Okay. So the first, I kind of put them in an order the ones which are the more relevant. And then, so we'll go through them. It's not necessarily the order in which they were received, although this is the first. You taught that the true nature of the body is related to the 6 dharmas of Naropa, and the true nature of the mind is more related to mahamudra. Could you elaborate on that? Because dream yoga is very much related to mind and also power, which are part of the 6 yogas. So how is it that it is more related to the body?
Whoa. From my point of view, when I see this question, it seems like there's some statement where, because
I think it was related to the Lungeboneluk and Semboneluk. Yeah.
because it is mentioned within the 6 practice of dream yoga. So dream yoga is very much with mind and also power. So it's something that you already limited on the idea of dream yoga is mind and also power. When you limited yourself seeing the dream and the power only with the mind, then you have already kind of set definition on the dream yoga as the mind itself, nothing to do with the body. So, so what can I teach? You already described it. But whether that is the true fact, I would say no. And I would not like to go very deep because this is something that something to do with our lineage transmission, and some are not okay to describe in details because it's not necessary to do in the public. So therefore, anyway, in our way of saying, first try to know that the kagyu, that is a very big important topic to understand for this. Kagyu was mainly known in Tibet and found by the great Ngada Marpa Lotsawa, and from his time the Kagyu was known as Marpa Kagyu. The teaching and the translation of his work mainly known for Vajrayana teachings, Vajrayana practice. And from that point of view, so mostly Vajrayana or the Tantric is known to be Kirim da Zorim Nilakuku Yoris.
You need both, or you have both the creation phase and the perfection phase.
One can also say that without the developing and dissolving phase, without these two, there is no tantric or Vajrayana practice at all. Vajrayana path is full of practice of mind training. And most important part is keeping the purest vision at the very beginning. The enlightened state, in general, the perfect enlightened Buddha who has the fully purest three kayas, Dhammakaya, Niyamanakaya, Sambhavakaya. The result, a being who has the three kaya purely, perfectly, and this is the result. And this result has the purest view, the purest vision, the purest of everything. In Vajrayana, we try to adapt that kind of pureness at the very beginning, so where we try to visualize. In fact, everything is pure, but as we have gone through a few days ago, that like a distraction or the delusion idea, those things makes us a little bit distant from the true nature. The same way, if we try to remove those temporary delusions, then the true nature, the true view of every will appear, like a gold is like cleaned by the dust. The gold, when the gold is covered by the dust, when you clean, the shine will be there. Same like that, through deity, through mantra, through channel, which is within our, like the channel we have in our physical form, by nourishing, practicing, progressively, slowly, we try to, like in the very beginning, we force ourselves to have the pure vision. Slowly, by meditating practice, we try to reduce the delusion into where everything becomes effortless to see the pure view. So, in Vajrayana, we have the Kirim, the developing phase, which is a method to have the pure view in the very beginning to engage. And the dissolving phase we have. Dissolving phase is more like emptiness, selfless practice. We have developing phase and dissolving phase, which we call in Tibetan Kyepirimba, Zopirimba. Kirim, Zorim. Kirim is mainly meditation on concentration, as one could say, shamatha. And Zorim is like the vipassana, where everything becomes selfless, non-existence nature, which is the Zorim, the emptiness itself. When we combine Kirim and Zorim together, in reality, we have training ourselves the single mind partners and mindfulness and selfless in combining together, in resting at that state. And through that, what happens is the true perfection, true reality of the mind. You meditate. So basically, Kagyu is mainly known for Kirim and Dzogchen practice. With the Kirim, we have several deities, or one can say Yidam. In Karma Kagyu, when we combine our practice, like Church Chitutuna, summarize,
Yeah, combine.
combine together,
Yeah.
there's two content, I think.
Yeah, everything contained in one or in two. In two.
Two. It is known in our saying, Kerim Linji Kima, Zorim Lungsen Yirmi.
So the
Kerim
the generating phase is the innate
Linji Kima.
or the co-emergent.
Dojipamo.
The co-emergent lady, which is Vajravarahi.
Zorim Lungsen Yirmi.
And the perfection phase is the inseparability of lung or wind and mind.
So mainly the practice in Karma Kagyu is known as Kerim Zorim. Kerim as the developing phase where we visualize the main deity as Dorjipamo. Sometimes Chakra Sambhara, but mainly as Dorjipamo. And during the dissolving phase, we have Zorim Lungsen Yirmes.
Inseparability of prana and mind.
And so the pure vision, the pure view, we have to hold on something to have the pure view. So the holding part will be the deity. With the deity, there is a pure realm of the deity. So that our impureness realm we visualize as the pure realm of the deity. We self-visualize as a deity. And the sound, what we hear, we as a normal being, we do hear lots of noises, positive, negative, all sorts of noises. So that not seeing as the normal, we visualize as a wisdom sound, with visualizing the sound as the mantra of the deity. And all of the realms as the pure realm, so that we can hold our impureness views towards the purest view of the deity. So that we already kind of training ourselves to the pureness. So during the developing phase, we mainly hold towards this. And during the Dzogchen, we have seen two different types of Dzogchen. The Dzogchen is known for two. One is from the mental, one from the physical. And the physical is known to be Nara Churuk, the six specters of Naropa. It is considered to be a Dzogchen. Then ultimate Dzogchen would be the mahamudra. And we used to say that the sixth practice of Naropa is common. Uncommon is the mahamudra practice. And although it doesn't show, because one is common, one is uncommon, doesn't mean both one is important and others not that much important. Both are important. Since as a human we have a body till we die, so we are taking advantage of having body and nourishing the body to the dzogchen of chuduk, of sixth dharma of Naropa. Through somehow our body and mind is very connected. When you pinch, you will feel the pain. And when you drink, you will feel the joy. And when you eat, you feel like satisfaction. And of course, the body and the mental is related. And by some time you get negative reaction, positive reaction, based on the body. So like that, we are trying to achieve, there is also a way of achieving dzogchen to the physical form, known as chuduk, the sixth dharma of Naropa. And milam, dream. And they say what, poa?
Yes.
Poa. Without a body, how can you perform poa? Without a body, how can you dream? You can't sleep. Right? To perform a dream yoga, you need to have a body. To perform a poa, you need to have a body. Without body, you can't perform poa. Because I'm saying so. A person who practices it. And so that's why it's like without the body, we have dzogchen, and the physical dzogchen is known to be rakpa dzogchen.
It's a grosser perfection phase.
Semgi chayachambo the chawegi dzogchen.
The mahamudra, which is in mind, or the mental mahamudra, it's the most subtle kind of perfection phase.
So it's very important to have, to know this. And the idea of having the perfect path or understanding of Mahamudra is not easy. It's not easy. Because some people doesn't want to listen teachings at all. And just Guru, the kind of a teacher, just teach, and I don't know whether he or she listens 100%. Might be, but capture is like 10%. And they add their own percentage. And they meditate with their own percentage. And it doesn't become the perfect Mahamudra. End up not practicing Mahamudra, ended up like practicing something but not very clear. But it's not on the track. And like this kind of understanding, there's a lot of people, not one or two, thousands, countless. And it's very difficult to have the perfect understanding of Mahamudra. Because you need to have guidance from the very beginning. Am I going to the right direction? I feel this experience, whether this is the right experience. I feel this, what to do? Like each individual guidance is very rare to get. So people have lacking of this kind of merits. So there's no, we can't blame them. We can't blame you. But actually, yes, it is very lacking. In a very modern society, we don't have that kind of guidance, but so that we base on the books and some rumors. Basically true. Rumors, he says so and she says so. Because you don't really know, you started to believe it. Ended up practicing rumors. That's not good. That's not safe. And the text, sometimes you don't get the full image what they are trying to really say. Just imagine, when I say cup, you're already reflecting your way of cup. I'm thinking of my Tibetan cup. It's totally different image, same word, right? Some might be small cup, some big cup, some colorful, some non-colorful, some wooden. So when you hear a book using the same word, you don't get what actually background you are hearing. You're just reflecting mostly what you have gone through. That's true. So like in the teaching mahamudra, color, like this, you are reflecting about yourself and editing. And without the guidance, it's very difficult to see whether this is the right cup or not. So, anyway, the mahamudra topic are very sensitive and very hard to understand. It's not very quick, just like snapping a finger that you can, understand. Experience, maybe. But the direction of fully understanding, very rare. What about the zorim of the body? That is something visible, right? When you do, it's visible. And you can very much, if a person's mind has a negative thought, due to distraction, we hardly recognize whether we are doing mistake, yes or no. Physically, if you're trying to kill someone or if you're trying to steal someone, it's very visible. Because it's very visible that you can see your action through your own eye, through your own ear. Very, very easier. So that when you perform the 6 practices of Narva, it's very visible. Very kind of. And the idea of sharing the experience is also kind of relatable because it's part of the body. So in that way, yes, I think this did kind of answer, right?
Yes.
Okay, I need to delete this.
The second question is, do you want to choose them or should I just continue?
Yeah, we choose that anyway.
I continue? Yeah. What is the quickest way to realize the Buddha nature?
What is the quickest way to realize? Quickest way to realize Buddha nature. Do you know?
What you just said, maybe?
What is the quickest way to the realization? I heard nowadays, nowadays we have AI. What do you call this full sentence? Artificial intelligence?
Yes.
Artificial intelligence. I hope next time they can also invent an app so that we can quickest way to realize the Buddha nature. What is the quickest way to... Okay, anyway, to be serious with that, there is no perfect guarantee answer for this, because I will give you an interesting answer for this. From my perspective, when a person says Dharma, how do we analyze it? The symbolic of Dharma is the wheel. But does that wheel actually represent the Dharma? No. Yeah, you can't understand the real meaning of the Dharma just seeing by the wheel. And the Four Noble Truth is the Dharma. We can say yes. But just think away that what does it mean? Is that just a sharing knowledge as Dharma? Or is it mainly the speech? Or is it mainly the language? Because most of the Dharma in early times, it was in Indian language, Pali or Sanskrit. So basically, the language doesn't describe as the Dharma. Right? Language is the tool to understand the Dharma, not the Dharma itself. And there is saying in the Four Noble Truth last day, Dungalji Tempa, the truth of suffering, cause of suffering, truth of
Cessation.
sensation. Sensation?
Cessation. Cessation.
Okay. That and the cause of that.
The path.
Huh?
The truth of the path.
To path. And so, in a way, it should be understood so whether the teaching itself is the Dharma or people understanding that is the Dharma, the idea. Well, it's quite confusing. In reality, what is the Dharma? It means that I think the enlightenment is the Dharma. What is enlightenment? Awaken and fully developed. Does this Four Noble Truth does that? Yes, it awakens us. And let's say, it should be just a teaching, a way to become a Dharma. There's no guarantee. And I do believe that the Four Noble Truths is something teaching that mainly can be understood by the human people. The Four Noble Truths won't be understandable for the animals. And for the animals, it's just something, very curious thing, but not enlightening or fully awareness development. So it is very curious, what does it mean, the Dharma? Awaken in our awareness, if these things can be achieved in any direction, in any circumstances, I think that is Dharma. Let's say if we go beyond materialistic way, beyond language, beyond human existence, no language, no culture. And of course the Buddhist scripture is mainly based on languages, symbolic. Now, when we don't have the precious human form, how can we understand the Dharma? Without the symbolic, without the... So, where can we point Dharma without the scripture, without the speech? We can't say the Buddha Dharma only depend on the scripture, on the speech. And without one day, if we don't have a speech, does it mean Dharma is already lost? No. Dharma is everywhere because when there's a mind awakened, the Dharma is everywhere. Dharma is the nature, can be expressed in language, actions, by compassion, loving, so many types of forms. The real Dharma is known to be Dharmakaya. The rest is the manifestation of the Dharma. So the Four Noble Truths, selfless, whatever, this is the manifestation of the true nature to be understood. So, this can be achieved in any way, everywhere, if there is a right cause and condition. For example, there is a saying, Virupa, the great Virupa, what can say? The great Mahasiddha, who took one-time initiation from a great Lama Palchi Ludu. In one initiation, one time, we received thousands of initiation already. Virupa, one empowerment, with the right condition within himself, the perfect teacher, the perfect doctrine, the perfect everything. When the first empowerment just granted to him, he got enlightened. So it is very interesting how enlightenment works. And there's a saying that Tilopa kind of to the Naropa, and he got enlightened. So enlightenment, when we think in a way, the Dharma, when we think in a way, it very much needs to be on the culture, tradition, languages. Then we already limited the nature of Dharma. We can't go beyond. So in that way, yes. And sometime when a teacher to introduce the true nature of mind, without that much detail, somehow the student can able to connect what he's really trying to say. And they, not only that, each words, when the Lama describes, kind of touches, and the kind of they kind of liberate themselves. So it's a very short period of time. They are having the, how to say, having the liberation kind of result. So, so in that way, yes. And to be honest, there is no quickest way to realize Buddha's nature. It's more with oneself to be understood, and well, it also depends on the circumstances. So, in a way, the Buddha nature, we have all sentient beings to have, and the quickest way would be introduction. But there's no guarantee that the introduction might help you, because it depends on your merits, conditions, that whether these things work or not. If there's a quickest way, of course, by now everyone already followed that, right? And I don't see. But I would say, in general, the mind introduction, which mainly comes during the mahamudra teaching, but there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that you will get satisfaction. But there's guarantee that Buddha nature is always within yourself. And that can make you confident. Then other than that, all depends on cause and condition. So this is why we always try to accumulate merits, so that when the introduction happens, not to get any disturbed obstacle in the path. So mainly this is the reason. So I think I think this answered.
So the next question is actually about the introduction to mind's true nature, asking on which bhumi does one have to be introduced to the nature of one's own mind by one's master, and how to find or choose such a master, especially in Europe. Thank you. Yeah.
So this is two questions.
Yes.
Okay, now it makes sense. So, so I will answer the first. On which bhumi does one have to be introduced into the nature of his mind by one's master? Normally, we have saying, it depends on the tradition. In Tantra, we believe there is 13 bhumis, and according to Mahayana, we have 10 bhumis. And the first bhumi is known to be Sa Tangpo Raptokawa.
The first bhumi is called Great Joy.
There is a saying, and it is very common in every school, without much kind of controversial debate, yes. When a being reach the first bhumi, what is the name?
Great Joy.
Great joy. The first very second of that, until this being reaches the enlightenment fully, the full result, there is no much difference to be seen in the reality. Seeing the view of selfless. When a being reaches the first bhumi, until he achieves the final destination of realization, till then, there is no when he already reaches the first bhumi, he already enlightened, a small enlightenment, a part of enlightenment. It's like we say, awaken, fully develop. So awakening will start from the first bhumi. And there will be no change till enlightenment. It will be the same. Because you already awakened. There's no more to be awakened. Now there's a process of developing. So we have the first, second, third, fourth, fifth bhumis till enlightened. When the being reaches the enlightened state, 13th state or the 10th state according to Mahayana, 13th the tantra, there is the development qualities. The awakening part is already at the first bhumi. And most, let me see the question, I forgot.
Samking Wotre Satangpo Karela Yore.
So the introduction is before the bhumi. Self-awakening or self-awakening it is by method of the teacher, which has to go. When you reach bhumi, you don't have to be introduced. You're already on the awakened, so not necessary. So when you're awakened, you're already on the bhumi. So when you're not awakened, you're not in the bhumi. So before the first bhumi or the first stage, the master plays a big role in that period of time. Then when the person already fully awakened towards selfless nature, at the very moment, at the very beginning, because they have experienced or come to a state of the selfless mind, very liberating. So there's so much joy because they have experienced something that they haven't experienced for a long period of time. So that's why the first bhumi is known to be Rabdukawa.
Rinpoche, then the result of the introduction, is it an experience of this true nature or is it a realization, the first bhumi itself?
Understand?
The Samking Kotravede Kirdebu, the Nyomba experience, Or is it the actual realization of the first bhumi?
Actually, after mudra, the mudra itself, I'm not very sure with the realization and experience because I don't know that much difference in English.
The Tokpa Tang Nyongwa.
Nyongwa.
Nyongwa is experience and Tokpa is realization.
Yeah, both can happen. Both is possible. But it's not like introduction can be done once only. Can be done a few times. But mainly with the Nyongwa experience, we have to come to the realization. Circumstances based. There's no such as this is the only way. It depends on the individual people's marriage and conditions that some very easily can be realized. Some they have to go through experience and then finally could get the realization. So it's kind of a little bit.
But if it is realization, then it's realization of the first bhumi, not of Buddha, the enlightened state.
Yes, if it's the realization, they have achieved the bhumi.
First bhumi.
First
okay.
bhumi. It's first bhumi. It's not merits. It's more to the process. The process. In the tantra, we say that one should work very hard to reach the first bhumi. After first bhumi to the 12th, the 13th, the Vajradhara state is very quick. And according to Mahayana, it takes kalpas. In Vajrayana, it is very short period of time, like a day or like a period of time. I think this is due to their way, each tradition of. But anyway, some said there's no difference, but this is something to be explored. Yes, accumulation merit is important. Accumulating merit is important because accumulating merits, what does it mean? Is that now accumulating merits is more to tender. If you keep the positive tender on the track, you will receive the positive result. If one puts effort to negative will come. So it's more like the merit is mostly tender. When we say merits, we have to think about tender. So, for example, generosity. Of course, by generous, we know there's a cause and effect for sure. Someone can able to see and someone able to feel because it's like tangential.
It's related, it's interdependent.
So this is why the progressive. So I said that first bhumi to the rest, there is no change on awakening. Only change on the developing. Development mainly comes from the process, the experience, the realization based on tantra. So, like this should be balanced. And the question were...
How to choose the master, or how to find the master that can give the introduction to mind's true nature?
And how to find or choose such a master, especially in Europe. You know, choose is a very difficult word. Because to choose, you need to have an option. If you have an option, you are such a very lucky person. Some people don't have the word to be choose. People are not fortunate as some people are. And some people, finding is also difficult. This is such a easy word, choose, or yidam. Because to choose, you need to have an option. And to have an option, you need to have the option of many masters. So some people don't have, especially in Europe, of course, such master. Because some people live in a certain way, there's no dharma. The master is very rare. If you can't get a very qualified master, whatever, if you see a master, whether it's qualified or not, you have no choice. Right? So the choose is very, very, very easy word. And to find is also a very tricky word. Because to find is kind of, you have to see whether, are you looking for a teacher or for yourself? For what purpose you want to find a teacher? And that is also very kind of finding. Because some people do have such great masters, still they are seeking great masters. So it's very tricky to find. If one is not very clear with the finding and choosing, and especially in Europe, it's not the question at all. So like that. Okay, so I think the similar question is below, so I will answer that from... Can you read that?
The Ogyen Rinpoche. So there is a quote by Ogyen Rinpoche, I don't know which book, saying, Buddha nature has lost track of itself and created samsara. So the question is, if or since Buddha nature has lost track of itself and cheated samsara or has turned into samsara, is there not a danger that after we are liberated from samsara, we will fall into it again? If we were enlightened and then we lost that enlightenment, or if Buddha nature was there and we lost it, then if we realize it, can we not lose it again?
This question is quite relatable. But so I would say then if it was lost, the Buddha nature lost in a way we somehow become unaware. Normally, unawareness mainly comes from marikpa, ignorance. And how does the ignorance start to appear? Is that when the mind becomes like unclarity. There is a moment where the mind can be unclarity, where the unclarity starts to be confusion, and confusion starts to lead, distraction, one could say, idea, one to another, continuously. And so from there, they started to become very distant with the nature. Although, like, it's there all the time, but of course the distance makes a very strong. But one should know that in Buddhism, merits accumulating is very important. Just because you're enlightened doesn't mean you stop accumulating merits. Just because you're enlightened, you can stop eating doesn't make sense. Yeah? Just because you're enlightened doesn't mean you don't have to sleep, drink, whatever. So even though an enlightened being need to follow
the working of cause and effect.
The law of cause and effect. Even enlightened being. Even an enlightened being does the opposite. They will suffer. They will suffer. As I said, if you are aware, a candle with the fire, if you touch, it's gonna burn your finger. Knowing that putting your hand on the fire is stupidity. And knowing that negative cause and effect, the law and cause and effect on negative, doing that will end up yourself or something related in a very negative point of view. Negative result, for sure. So anyway, even though enlightened beings need to carry on the law of cause and effect, no matter what. Just because you are enlightened doesn't mean you are fully independent from the cause and effect. I do not need to follow. Just because you are liberated doesn't mean you don't have to follow time. Yeah? You don't need to follow time. Time will be there whether you or not. And like that. So we have to continue no matter what. And even the Buddha needs to carry on the positive result. So even though enlightened, you have to hold on something. You cannot just, this is not even possible. And so that's why when enlightened being, fully enlightened, and fully develop on the dental, cause and condition, the law, and the enlightened being will hold on the law, on the positive. When the law is when the person is holding the law of cause and effect on the positive, there's no separation. So there's no chance of getting lost because you're holding to us. If you don't hold anything, you will lose. So we are saying the enlightened one will never distract because they know and they choose themselves, their lifestyle on holding holding the law, whether it is positive or negative, for the benefit of sentient beings. If they do negative, it's for the benefit of sentient beings. So in that way, I think, what was the answer?
If we realize Buddha nature, then can we forget it again?
Yeah, so it's like, it will be unforgettable. Because if you don't cling, if you don't hold on the tender, then that is possible. But when the Buddha, whether they are enlightened or not, they have to rely on the tender. So in that way, they will not be able to, forget or lose in that way. Just example. We have to drink water in the daily basis. So we have eat and drink. So we have to drink. So holding is for sure. We will hold our drink for sure, whether it is good drink or bad drink. And it's up to us to choose which one. Yeah? The Buddha nature is the true selfless nature. And just because it is selfless, the nature, but somehow, since the existence of everything is like a dental, so you need to hold on something. So, which to hold? Distraction is a holding part. And awareness is also a part of positive dental, where we hold on. So it's more like can we lose that track itself? Probably not. Because if we lost, we will be in samsara. So only loss will be if you don't follow the dental. So in that way, I think I answered this. So actually the time is up.
Shall we do that one? Regarding the view of the Buddha nature that of the Shentong and the tantric view seem to be compatible, but the rongtong or non-affirming negation does not seem to be so compatible with the tantras. So how is it possible to follow the rongtong view or the Madhyamaka view, and how is it compatible to walk with that and the tantras? Is there a difference between the Shentong and rongtong and the understanding of the tantra path?
Okay, to answer this very easily, well, whether it is rongtong or Shentong, basically both are Madhyamika. You're right, Madhyamika. In Madhyamika, whether it's rongtong or Shentong, we do believe in Tashi Tutel. Tashi Tupadantawa.
That it's free from the four extremes, free from all elaborations of the four extremes.
So that accepts by rongtong or Shentong. The how to say compatible the difference, like compared to the tantra, and the difference between now they're rongtong and Shentong, in some way they try to make a very big huge thing, but in fact both rongtong and Shentong do accept, no matter what, Tashi Tutel.
The freedom from all elaboration, from the extreme of existence, in existence, etc.
And so that is enough to understand emptiness. If you can go deeper, that is very fortunate. If you can't go much deeper than that, just the state where you can go to the Tashi Tutel, then that is enough. Because rongtong, Shentong mainly happen in Tibet and doesn't happen to India. The idea, the philosophical, the debate, and so forth, it happened to mostly appear in Tibet. And in India, it's more like Thaljupa, the Rangjupa.
The Prasangika and the Svatantrika.
Yeah, mainly, even though these two accept Tashi Tutel.
These two branches of the Madhyamaka school also accepted that true nature is the freedom from elaboration.
In the view, there's no much difference, only on the tensik, the
arguments. The arguments that are used are different.
tensik chon tone, ne rangjupa talju chokore mato, cheyong ke chane, tashi tutel ta kasa ludup ki khare songbatan so kheling dikyore.
Yeah. So the different schools of India, such as the Svatantrika and the Prasangika, have different arguments, different way to prove emptiness, but actually regarding the view that they arrive at, which is the view that is presented, for instance, by Nagarjuna, this is the same.
Also with the rongtong and Shentong, mostly whatever Nagarjuna have taught, the quote, like accepts by rongtong, Shentong, Rangjupa, Thaljupa, everyone. If they don't accept, they don't become Madhyamika at all. So those are Madhyamika. So what Nagarjuna have taught is enough can relate to the Tantra. So it's not like only the Shentong is relatable with the Tantra. In Tantra, philosophical of like
we don't use a lot of arguments and reasoning to establish the viewpoint in the Tantra and the Vajrayana.
Yeah. So we just mainly go with the emptiness itself. So in that way, there is no danger or whatever. Yes. Even though rongtong, whether it is Shentong, it's quite the same when it comes to like in tantric. Because of rongtong we visualize, because of Shentong we visualize Dakini. It doesn't work that way. So it's more like based on the major idea of Tashi Tutel. That is enough. That is something that goes generally.
I suppose the question comes more from if you have a view which is focusing mainly on emptiness, then you don't focus so much on the aspect of qualities. And it seems that with the tantric practice, you are embodying the qualities at the moment of the basis, which is why then somehow the Shentong view will be more helpful.
Helpful in the senses might be, right? And because the focusing part, for individual it does work, for some individual it doesn't work. But most of the Shentong makes sense because they kept the Shentong idea is mostly observed like similar to Semsamba. So that's why
Chittamatra.
Chidama. So that's why it's more related. But of course, even though without going to the details or more focusing towards like Semsam, can also, there's nothing much kind of difference in the actual tantric visualization or dissolving phase, whatever. No matter what, Zimba yosana trigimare.
If there is any grasping, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, no matter what. Whether it's rongtong or Shentong, if there's a grasping or cleaning of certain things, then that doesn't work. Because in the Tantra, in the end, everything should not be clean, as like the Tilopa or the Naropa said, like, because now I'm much, because now sha kadesha when it's Zimba me.
The problem is not the appearance, the problem is that you are clinging to appearances.
So, unfortunately, we are not able to finish the Q&A. And, okay. And so this is, this will be the end of my session of this course. And I hope our conversation and the topic might be helpful for you in some way. And once again, I want you to remember that all of you are very fortunate because of leading by His Holiness with a great doctrine by Shantideva. The Bodhisattva Avatar, you can able to learn the aspect from such master, H.E.Jamgon Kongtrul and Tsema with Kishi Lobsang and Shentong with Lama Chambatai. Anyone else?
No, yourself?
Yeah. So very fortunate to have such teachers, and wish you very long life, good health, and yes, a very good day. Control Rinpoche Somlo Chazalo Yewadi Nyavra Sonyan Simchen Namje to Sumsop Sauje Sami Sunju Gewanon American H.E.Jamgon Kongtrul Tamje Chembo Topper H.E.Jamgon Simche Chenkuto Tasu Simche Tamje to Sumsadam Topa to Simchem Kunga Yonsu Sanjin Yotopsho Sanji Kusuni Bechina Chini Minjur Dembech Kende Meche Dembechina Chichitrango Melum Droparasho Sonam diye tamje sepani tomne dana pamje ne cheka na chen balop